Welcome to Badass Breakthrough. My name is Bridget Bennett. I am your host. I am a high conflict custody and divorce coach, fellow survivor of domestic abuse, and I am here to help you on your way. This show is for those who have found their way navigating co-parenting with a high conflict or narcissistic person, battling it out in family court, feeling like that journey is never going to end, maybe discovering that they are a product of a narcissistic family, and overall for those that are trying to rebuild their life after enduring abuse, whether it was through a relationship or marriage. You're in the right place. This show is for you. So let's get started on this journey together. Okay, last week, a client sent me multiple paragraphs. I mean, they wanted to send their ex what I was considering to be a short story. I'm not kidding. This actually happens. And the first thing I said was, whoa, okay, we're going to pause. We're going to pause. This message is entirely way too long. Like, you can get rid of more than 75% of this message. We've all been there. We've all sent multiple paragraphs to a high conflict narcissistic ex with whom we have to co-parent, right? Like, we've sent the multiple paragraphs even to a high conflict person at work, to HR. We've over explained ourselves. Did we get what we were wanting to get out of those long messages? No. I'm sure you didn't. Did you get the response that you were looking for? So I want to invite you to learn along with me today as I talk about the method of communication that I coach on and train my clients with, and that's the BIFF method. BIFF, B-I-F-F. We're talking brief, informative, friendly, and firm. I say this every day, multiple times a day. And, BIFF can initially feel really unnatural. BIFF feels unnatural at first for those of us that are people pleasers. It's like, why all of a sudden do I have to send this really short message? Aren't they going to have unanswered questions? They're going to send me something else back. They're going to want more information. What am I supposed to do? Yep, I've had those thoughts. I've been there. I've tried to rationalize with myself as to why I still needed a long message. I didn't. It was really just my old ways getting in my way. I remember this client from last week having this very lengthy conversation with me about how they wanted to justify why they needed to send this lengthy message. They were overthinking the whole conversation with me. They were overthinking the whole thing. They were trying to prepare themselves for a potential response from their ex. Well, what if he's going to ask this and he's probably going to ask that? And I know if I say this word, and like they were really fixated on every single word of their message. The words are not as important as you're making them. Words matter, of course, but as long as you are friendly and informative, you're really not needing anything else after that. It's for me that moment when my client was asking me over and over again, Bridget, well, what if he does this? Bridget, what if he doesn't respond to this message timely? What I want to do is I really want him to agree and I really want him to give me the things that I'm asking for. That's not the point of the message. When you are communicating with a high conflict person, they're not going to give you what you want. Well, but I want you to teach me. I want you to coach me so that I can get them to agree and to give me what I want. Well, I can't control a high conflict person any more than you can. And I'm not going to pretend that I can. I am not that person. Now, do I understand narcissism and do I know how to communicate effectively with narcissistic people? Of course I do. I'm trained in this area, right? I've been doing this for a really long time. But you cannot control what your ex is going to say, think, or do. So you sending a wordy message is not going to change what they may say, think, or do. And the more words you give a high conflict person, the more likely they are to twist your words, to use those words later against you. They will turn it around and they will use it to harm you, to abuse you, to manipulate you. Really want that. What about this whole friendly part of BIFF, Bridget? I don't want to be friendly to my ex. He was abusive. He treated me and my children terribly. Why do I have to be friendly to an abuser? Why can't I just use the gray rock method? Okay. I want you to be as boring as a gray rock. Yes, I do. So that they're not going to argue with you, right? If you're that boring, they're not going to argue with you. It's also part of what we're doing with Biff. But gray rock can actually look kind of passive aggressive or just passive in general. Canned responses is something else that I've heard for quite some time. And, the your efforts to paint me in a negative light are noted. Your efforts to portray me in a negative light are noted. Noted for whom? What are we even saying with that? You are making a note for court? That sounds threatening. Your efforts to paint me in a negative light? What? That's not Biff. What's going to happen if you send a message like that? They're going to keep attacking you. Now, instead of sending a message like that to that lengthy message where they're attacking your parenting, attacking you as a person, questioning what you're saying and doing, and all the things in between, even questioning the way you dress. That happened to me, actually, true story. My ex questioned the way I dressed and said that my children must be super embarrassed to have a trashy mom. I think he used the word trailer trash or something. I'm like, okay, he- you're going to go there and I'm not going to engage. I completely lost my train of thought. I can't understand why any one of us would not be wanting to help de-escalate the conflict, right? So, like, the job of mine with my client and with all of you is to teach you how to de-escalate the conflict. Am I going to magically make your narcissistic ex stop being narcissistic and to be a better and amazing person? No, I cannot do that. Neither can you. What I can do is that I can teach you how to use the BIFF method in your communication so that it becomes more natural and it becomes this habit that you formed for yourself. And over time, the more that we use the BIFF method in communication, the less conflict we see. So, this whole friendly aspect of BIFF doesn't mean that you're their BFF, wrong acronym. What it means is that there's a friendly tone in the messages. It can start out as something very simplistic as a salutation, hi, and ending with thanks in your name. Also, the friendliness in the messages that we're sending to a high conflict person, it also helps to serve as a distraction. Yes, I just said distracting them. I'm telling you all of the tricks. If they've gone on and on about how incapable of a parent you are and how they don't appreciate how you're not, you know, allowing them to go to the soccer games, and that's not true because you've shared the information. They're just choosing not to go. I want you to do this instead. Distract them with a message. You can say, "Hi, John, thanks for your message. I had previously shared the soccer schedule with you. How about we start using the calendar feature in Talking Parents, for example, or we have a shared calendar, and I hope it's through a parenting app, where I can share these events with you, and therefore you're always aware of when they are and can put it on your calendar and attend if you're able." Right? What did I do? I've created a distraction. Have I engaged with the conflict of how I am not allowing this person to go to the soccer game? No, I did not engage with that at all. I didn't defend myself. I didn't explain anything. No, I'm just like, I am solution oriented. You are creating the problem. I am solution oriented. And family court likes to see this stuff, guys. When you go, what do you think your attorney's thinking when you're dropping hundreds of pages of messages into their inbox? You really think they're reading through all of your messages and all of your documentation? No, they're not. They never will. Legal professionals and judges will think that you too are part of the problem if you're sending lengthy ass messages. There's three things that we want to avoid when communicating with a high conflict person and utilizing the BIFF method, right? We want to avoid what I call the 3 A's of danger. Okay, 3 A's of danger. And I did not create the BIFF method. I did not create any of the teachings of the BIFF method. That actually is from Bill Eddy from the High Conflict Institute. So there's books. I encourage you to look them up, to read them. Heck, I will even drop a link for you in the show notes for the BIFF book that I've personally used, and I make sure that all of my clients get a copy. You must read this book. It will change how you communicate with not just your ex, but people in general, and you will feel more at peace. Anyway, the 3 A's that we want to avoid. We don't want to give advice. You don't need to tell your ex what to do, how they should do something, or, at 8 p.m. at my house, it's bedtime. Even though we say we're co parenting, we're actually parallel parenting with boundaries. What they do on their parenting time is their business. They are not going to maintain the same bedtime schedule that you are. It's just not going to happen. They are not going to have the same routine that you do in your house. You've got to let that shit go. So do not give them advice. Do not tell them what to do. It's not giving them advice by saying, hey, child has a prescription that was, sent to the pharmacy from the doctor for their ear infection. I'm going to send it with them for their time with you. The instructions are on the bag. However, the dosage is, that's not giving advice, nor telling them what to do. You're sharing information. There is a difference. And that's actually a good quality of a co parent. No admonishments. What? No admonishments. That's the other A. We're not criticizing them. We're not attacking them. I know it can be tempting. It can be real tempting when they're sending you those long messages. They're attacking you. It's natural because we're feeling attacked. We want to, in turn, give it back to that person, right? Defend ourselves. And we want to give it back to them. We want to call out their shitty behavior. It's completely ineffective. It's not going to work. No point in doing it. Don't apologize. That's the last A. Have you ever apologized to a high conflict person, a narcissist? Have you ever apologized to a narcissist? What happened with that apology? Or let me guess, they gaslit you, shifted the blame to make you think that you had to apologize for something that they did. Am I right? Because that's what they all do. They are professional victims. And, well, the codependency, people pleasing part of us we don't want other people to feel bad, right? We're deeply empathetic. They prey off of that. And so we then end up apologizing for something that they did to us. So we don't apologize. And if you ever have apologized, I'm sure we all have. I have. My ex would never let that shit go. So, you know, that time that you said you were wrong here, you admitted here that you did this wrong. You don't apologize because they will never let that shit die. It's never going to die. It's never going to go away. As someone who coaches individuals with BIFF communication, I focus largely on the more that you use BIFF, the more comfortable you're going to feel with it. And my job in coaching clients with the BIFF method is so that more and more in time, they're feeling like, wow, I feel different. It becomes more and more effective the more that you use it. So I go through a list of questions with my clients when, they get to the point in our coaching journey together that they're like, all right, I feel confident enough. I'm going to try to write some messages. And sometimes they don't feel confident enough and I push them to do it anyway, right? Like you're going to draft the message and I'm going to write it. This is me taking the training wheels off the bike. And I ask them, all right, I want you to look at your message. I want you to tell me, is it brief? Yes or no? Is it brief? Okay. Is it informative? What is the information that we're sharing? I have the BIFF book right here. I literally am pulling it out from the BIFF book, the things that I go through. Is it friendly? Is it firm? What is this firm thing? Well, you're maintaining boundaries, and our boundaries are for us. It's not for you to explain to someone what your boundaries are so that they then know what they are and try to violate them. Your boundaries are for you. Does your message have any kind of advice? Does it have any admonishments? Does it have any apologies? And now this is where the tricky work begins. Okay, that's like the easy checklist. How do you think the other person will respond? Well, if you remember, at the beginning of this episode, I talked about how my client was like heavily overthinking how the other person was going to respond and wanted to like craft this perfect message so that their response was not going to be combative or coming at them in a certain way, right? But what was happening is that there's like so much overthinking happening. And therefore, when we overthink, we overwrite. Like it's just kind of the way that happens. If you think the other person is going to respond in a way that is with anger, lashing out, attacking you, okay, what makes you think that about your message? Or is your message okay and you just know that they're not going to like how you're maybe sharing information or how you've asked a question to trade days if needed, right? Whatever the topic may be. The other question I ask is there anything that you would take out, maybe add, change, revise about your message? Almost always when clients send me their initial message, they say to me, Bridget, I know this could be shorter. They recognize it. They already know this message could be written with more brevity. How do I get there? What are pieces of this message that are unimportant? I just revised one earlier this evening with a client, and she was giving lots and lots of details about a medical situation with a child. But I mean, she was down to the minute that she was contacted by the school. Now, I left that part in there only because I felt like it's relevant for when she decided to take the child out of school, right? The child left school a bit early because of these issues with the child's health. So, like that part was okay to stay. But all the other things of how so and so called, and then I did this, and then I did the other, and like, I mean, it was just a lot of detail. It was not needed. We can still share the information in a brief way. I promise you, you can keep your messages to like 5 sentences max most of the time. If you're not able to do that 90% of the time, there is something wrong. We got to work on those messages. And the last thing I always ask my clients, in some way, shape, or form, would you like to get my feedback on this message? And, obviously they're already asking me for my feedback, so it's kind of understood. But sometimes I say, this is a great message. However, I would make a few revisions. Would you like to hear them? Because my goal, and any coach's goal, should be to teach individuals tools, tricks, strategies that they can implement on their own. If you're not doing that as a coach, you are ineffective. Right? This is why your family law attorney doesn't sit there and teach you how to write messages to your high conflict ex. They may send something, they may send an intimidating letter, they may do something else, right? But they're not sitting there teaching you how to write the damn messages. Why? You got it. Because they're billing you by the hour, right? And if they teach you how to do all of these things, you're no longer going to need them. And well, they're out of a paycheck. You are paying them. They work for you, not the other way around. I don't want to have clients working with me for forever. I want to be able to teach you the things and to have you on your way. I think when we start to implement the BIFF method, you're going to find this. Actually, I won't say I think, I know. You start to communicate in a way that doesn't cause defensiveness in an individual, right? So you want to be able to write messages in a way that is not causing your narcissistic high conflict ex to feel defensive, whoever is on the receiving end of that message. It's important that you keep that in mind. Over time, you will see that, oh, wow, they're not attacking me as much. And also, every single time that you start using the BIFF method, and give it a try, just start writing some of these messages with salutation, hi, and ending it with thanks. Hi, John. Thanks, Bridget. Your ex is going to mirror your communication. They lack authenticity. They mirror the behaviors and qualities in others that they like. They're going to start to mirror your form of communicating. Promise. Promise. And 99% of all these cases that I've handled, that's exactly what happens. And I want to leave you with this. There is no single right way to write a BIFF message. A BIFF message is unique to the author. It's unique to the person in general. My way of writing a message is going to be more based off of my own circumstances and perspective in my situation, right? As is yours. Keep that in mind, because many of you have started to explore the world of AI and using things like ChatGPT to write your messages. AI is only good as the information that you are feeding it. So pay attention. Be careful. I always know when someone has used AI for a message. Like those high conflict exes are even starting to use them. So be mindful of that. Some of the dangers of AI, but I do believe that it's a very helpful tool if you train it properly to help you. It will save you. I've had lots of clients start going to use AI to help look through messages. I'll leave you with that one. Do your research, grab the BIFF book. If today's episode resonated with you, make sure you share it with someone who needs it. You can find me on all platforms as Coach Bridget B, or at my website, breakingbadasscoaching.com. If you are ready to work more with me in a session, check out some of my guides, learn how to master your documentation, or join my exclusive community, you can do that through the link that'll be in the show notes. I want you to remember, you have survived this far. You've made it through this episode, and you continue to show up. You're going to continue to survive, and I will see you in the next episode.